You call it a good season. I say this is definitely the best season in Korea since 2014, when of course the level of talent there was unparalleled. We're getting closer and closer to those days, and 8 competitive teams, and now even SBENU doing their best to throw a spanner in the works of Longzhu's playoff hopes. Great to see Korea so competitive.
Yeah. NA sort of the same way, but it's not because the teams are shining diamonds all over the. It's you know.
You always have to find the NA transition.
You gotta throw those little shots. You know, we know NA is the best region in the world, though, Papa.
At what though?
Losing.
I don't know. China tries to do that.
That's
sometimes
true.
as well.
That's true. Somebody has to be the best at being the worst.
Well, we're not seeing Rise again. Sad days. So, Lee Sin banned as well. 2 jungle bans and a Rise ban seems to be Longzhu's tonic for success. They're on the blue side, so they're free to not have to ban the OPs, as we call them. Poppy, the only other big OP, and I guess Varus to some degree as well. We were all a bit surprised not to see the last pick, Jace. I know we were all hoping for it.
Yeah.
The Korean sniper decided to go somewhere different, and for large swaths of the game, it looked like Longzhu's steady as she does it game plan would work until it all came unraveling in that last fight.
Yep, just that comp built around the Rise, shattering all of their hopes and dreams.
Shattering all land speed records as well.
That too.
It's not quite Rammus levels of speed, but right up there.
That was pretty damn close.
What will we see from SBENU now? They don't have the speed up the Rise, frontline Rise plan available to them anymore. Expecting something different. Sad for Sarsen to finally find a main and then have it banned away.
The one trick Rise. Now, I mean, this guy, you can't call any champion his main, because like you said earlier on, 20 champions played so far.
But I mean, for magicians out there, you can have 20 tricks, but if only one of them's any good, then how good a magician are you, right?
That is a very good comparison.
So we'll see if he's got something else. His Azir has been pretty good, to give him credit.
Yeah, he's has had some good performances on different champions. The Varus as well, one that he's done pretty well on.
Echo's a champion that we've seen Faker playing in solo queue. We know he's strong. He's received a suite of buffs, patch after patch, but hard to say where he's going to settle. Seems more like a top laner than a mid laner, but
yeah.
I'm a big fan of mid lane assassin-esque Echo.
We do see the top lane Echo. It's played a lot by Huni going back to North America.
But this is Korea, and I want to see it in the mid lane. Coco, famously, Frozen also, known for mid lane Echo, so man can dream.
I do love you, North America, by the way. I just like making fun of you at the same time.
The shots come from a place of love.
Yeah, exactly. It's from the sweetest part of my heart that I say very bad things about you.
So when Longzhu have played Gangplank, it's been Flame. It was actually 4-0 on Gangplank in the top lane, so we're not clear whether it's going to be Coco or Expression piloting the Pirate, as SBENU put together some of the pieces that are quite familiar. It's going to be Graves once again for Flawless in the jungle. They've managed to nab the Kalista this time, though.
Yeah, that was the final ban from the side of Longzhu in that last game, but they keep it fairly similar, but this time swapping out for the Rise in that second round. Italy didn't make it through this time.
So now the question is, what is Fury going to play? Because the Lucian was a bit underwhelming to me. Jhin is obviously a champion you can pick in this scenario, but it's Jhin, speaking of underwhelming, was desperately poor when we saw him play Jhin.
I think you just go for the Sivir.
Sivir makes the most sense, the most reliable champion, also gives them some wave clear, and will we see Coco persist with the Azir?
Yeah, wasn't one of the most phenomenal performances on Azir that we've seen, especially not from Coco. I mean, one of the last times that we saw him play Azir was very not good. This one was mediocre, and it will be locked in again for the second game. So that means Expression going to be picking up the Pirate.
Keeping with the identity of Gangplank top, I would have liked the Sivir just to give them wave clear to go and allow the Gangplank scale up. But Lucian obviously has decent wave clear in his own right. Sarsen has been threatening Jarvan mid for the whole season. And is it blackjack time? Is it time for 21? Because I would love to see the mid lane Jarvan, if I'm going to be honest.
I mean, he's been teasing us so much with that one. I would love to see it as well. Malzahar, a pick that we saw just yesterday.
Nivea would have a certain amount of synergy. Flashed that before, has played a Nivea before, and of course Gangplank, Lucian, and Azir all attack speed-based champions, so would interact well there. The Malzahar would be an interesting one. It's going to be the Jarvan.
Here we go.
Blackjack, baby.
I've been waiting to see this one. Thank you, Sasin.
Call the dealer over. We got a winner.
We got a winner indeed. So we finally get treated to some mid lane Jarvan.
This has been the best week for the pure fans. Those purists who've been watching all the games and they see the hovers. They remember how many times Fly hovered Malzahar. Finally locked it in. We've seen Sasin mousing over Jarvan all season, then the buffs came through on 6.5. I'm like, will we finally see it? Azir is a champion that really struggles with gap close. There was a time when Kassadin was the best pick into the Azir, and talk about damage and gap closes. Jarvan has it in spectacular fashion.
Yes, he does. Of course, though, can deny that with the Emperor's Divide, but you're looking for an EQ combo at the cost of your ultimate. So it is a very imbalanced trade. So nice pickup here for Sasin. Only worry is that this is going to be a very 80-centric composition from the side of SBENU. Maokai, the only real offering of magic damage. J4 does have a little bit of passive or percentage HP damage on his auto attacks, but it's every like 10 seconds or
I
something
believe it's
on one
physical
target.
after the change too.
Oh, I think you are correct.
But
so yeah, that is going to be, never mind. So
we'll get into the comps. I got some thoughts about them. Maybe we'll see Rod of Ages Maokai just boost up the base values a little bit since a Rod of Ages Maokai this week. So outside chance that Coco changes the exhaust. That's going to be definitely a necessary summon spell.
yeah, absolutely. But here we go. Do or die time for Longzhu. If they get shut out here, the hopes of them getting the playoffs are almost completely shattered, as they do have to play against Africa and Jin Air coming up next. Game 2, match point. Let's get into it. All right, and here we are back onto the Rift for Game 2. Longzhu, after not being able to play the objective game and finish out Game 1, coming back in. This time, have the daunting task of taking down this mid lane Jarvan.
We've got a bit more time. We can talk about the comps. As Sasin's still smiling. He finally gets to play Jarvan, so he's feeling good about himself. Already 2 debuts of champions in this series for him.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the coach for SBENU, I would just say, you know what?
You
played one hell of a game as Rise. We'll let you play the J4 finally. Why not?
The reward is that we might lose a game because of the Jarvan pick. And you might wonder why I'm being critical. As again, I said the lane matchup is fine. I worry about the team fights. Achilleos. Well, some Dongjun fandom. That's one of our Korean casters.
Over on your right.
But I really worry about the team fights because Jarvan's a melee champion. That much is evident. Jarvan's going to dive in. Oh boy, speaking of diving in, as we might get a pause.
Oh boy.
That's an awkward time to pause.
This is a very awkward time to pause, as we see.
I wonder if Pure has sight. He must do, right? I'm looking at the angle. There's, of course, a very small vision cone. No,
Yeah, he has vision.
He has vision.
Yeah, he just has vision of Secret as he comes around the bend. They don't see nuclear, but they can pretty much surmise that he's there. And of course, SBENU, zero idea what is waiting for them in that brush when they do come around.
Hopefully we're going to load in and see some action. But just returning to the Jarvan pick while I have time, Achilleos. Yep. You dive in with Jarvan. You're dealing with Gangplank, who of course can set up the barrels, and that's a lot of potential burst damage. Dealing with Azir, who, if you commit too hard on Azir and you try and get out, you're going to take so much Sand Soldier damage. I really worry for the Jarvan, because Jarvan's going to have to build damage to justify the pick. Well, it's going to be hard to see how he's going to pilot team fights. Are we going to see this fight when we load back into game? Oh boy, the Dongjun fans are in full force.
They throw the jazz hands around him as well. So we did have just a little bit of a disengage here. Secret roamed in, but didn't take too much damage. Pulverize one started for Pure, yeah. Re-aggressing here. We'll be able to get the concussive blow onto Pure. Nope, just going to ignore it actually. Try to stack as many as possible. They get the rend. And they are going to trade pretty evenly, it would seem here. But I think in the long term, the advantage is going to be in the hands of Pure and Fury, as Alistar does have that Triumph Ignore. Noted that it is nerfed a bit here. Only 30% heal to allies instead of that 50%. So the sustain won't be nearly as dominating as it was in the past.
People might wonder why it took so long for the Alistar heal to be targeted. It's not a big value. Even at 50% it was I believe 90 health at level 5, so we got 5 points in it, and 180 for Alistair. But the big change in the 2016 patch was the introduction of the Windspeaker Master, and actually getting AoE armor and magic resist values onto the team just meant the value of the heal was that much more in a big AoE, so had to be nerfed. Jarvan might have to do some split pushing in the late game, because when you talk about sieging down turrets, they do have 2 ranged auto attackers, but Graves and Callista not the longest range when it comes to taking down turrets. As we said, team fights are going to be super execution heavy. With the changes on 6.5, Jarvan does AoE, massive AoE burst damage with his ultimate. It still has a 1.5 AD ratio in a massive radius that now goes on to all enemies in that radius. But again, dives in, doesn't get that kill. He's probably going to die in the magic damage or even physical damage AoE for both Gangplank and Azir. So going to be tricky to pull off, but exciting to see for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. See, here trying to use the heal to mess up these last hits for nuclear underneath the tower, but we'll be able to confirm, I believe, all of those actually, not like this one. So good stuff from the Callista. And this could be a little bit different, as we, again, we did see Callista banned in the last set. Nuclear does pretty decent Callista here and there. I think he's got it a couple times.
The other fun thing that changes from set 1 is that we saw very low impact teleports. We didn't see a big teleport fight from Poppy, although she obviously can pull them off. We talked about how Ryze and Lulu are about grouping. Look on SBENU's side. The moment that a Maokai or a Jarvan 4 shows up, stuff's going to go down. They both have very powerful engage tools, targeted and gap closer related. So SBENU definitely, they get the numbers advantage, which they can do with double teleport, can pull off some really exciting skirmishes and team fights in this game.
Yeah, but even so, even with the TP in from Expression, you don't get too much from the Gangplank coming in, especially now that he only has the 3 barrels to offer up. So if he has those on cooldown while he teleports in, that's going to harm his ganking potential and his turn potential in these fights. So still just advantage in the hands of SBENU in that regard.
If anything, the team's a reversed identity. This time Longzhu has the positioning teleport. He wants to get in there early, put down the barrels, and wait for the inevitable engage from both the Maokai and the Jarvan.
See, though, both of those top laners, of course, have gone back for their first buys. Double Doran's Ring coming in for Soul, where it's going to be straight Sheen for Expression. So going that very aggressive route, which makes sense. Doesn't have too much to worry about going up against that Maokai. He's not going to be able to output too much damage, and his sustain's going to be just fine with his passive as well.
Sasan going to be able to naturally itemize into... Hopefully something back. He does.
Oh, he does. That was about the
That's 2 games in a row that Coco's been greedy with the back and punished.
That was like the last fraction of a second that you could have done that before the invulnerability kicked in on the recall too.
So you're going to be able to naturally itemize Sasan into more Malmortius, which still has not been nerfed, I believe, on patch 6.6.
Another questionable thing that we haven't seen get kicked down a notch. So I believe they are talking about nerfing that finally. So we will likely see that come out in patch 6.7.
Just does too many things. I mean,
it's just
it builds out of armor penetration, which is fine. It has the stats, which is fine. But either you change the recipe so that armor penetration doesn't build out of it, as we're seeing Sasan walk down bar. Remember, it's level 6.
We'll be going for that, but of course, we'll be going on to a level 6 Gangplank as well. So you don't want to dive somebody when they have a cannon barrage.
The big issue about Maw is it gives too many stats when the shields pop. Too many different things. It gives you so many stats. Attack speed, lifesteal, spell vamp. Of course, it naturally gives armor penetration. Just too overtuned in terms of breadth of stats. So just cut something back and leave it otherwise mostly the same.
Yeah. That or increase the cost by like 1,500.
Oh really? So just casual 5,000 gold item?
I mean,
it's
it would make it
3,200-ish
it would balance it out as far as the amount of stats you get for gold spent. Not quite. I'm not a mathematician or an economist, so.
Again, the value comes when the shield is popped. That's when you really are getting just huge amounts of value instantly, but it's one of the reasons why we see so much AD mids. They can naturally itemize and feel great about more. We even see Corkies sometimes skip Trinity Force first just for the more.
Yeah, we've seen some really early Hex Drinkers on Corki in lane.
I mean, it's against LeBlanc, so the Hex Drinker part's necessary.
Yeah.
Funny how the item never was built because there was so much power in the Hex Drinker, and now it's always rushed because there's so much power in the more Malmortius and relatively less in Hex Drinkers. Here we go.
Going in for the gank. Nice flash away by Sasan is using actually just Cataclysm away. I thought he flashed. Now he will flash. And Barrage comes down. He's taking a lot of damage, but should be able to get out of that one in time. Go's gonna take a bit. Whoa! The collateral damage from off screen from Flawless. finishes him out. Wow.
That was the exclamation point right there.
That was not what I expected at all. For some reason, I thought Saucin did the flash into Cataclysm to get away from the Cocoon, but he's just fast enough to use the Cataclysm itself. Nicely played by Saucin, and even better played by Flawless.
Those are the sort of ganks you love as a jungler. The drive-by kill secure.
It's like, all right, got it.
Back to killing the Raptors.
And just takes away the first blood. That's going to be a great start for this Graves, who wants to be able to get up in your face and output a lot of damage.
Remember, Longzhu do have farming lanes, especially if you want to pile on the CS, which has been doing very successfully as the gangplank. Coco is going to be able to have the harass advantage, but the all-in's certainly going to be at the side of Saucin and mid. So
but, yeah, gold is going to be in the advantage of Saucin as well. 63 to 49 creeps here. And now an assist over onto Saucin as well, so gold very much going to be in his hands.
Waiting to see the big burst combo, EQ into ultimate. EQ does apply the passive, as you mentioned, and you just pound them into the ground with the Space Jam.
You have to wonder, is Coco going to itemize for that Zhonya's early on? Did not see it in the last game.
Very unlikely. Zhonya's was once a rush item, but just the fact that it's so expensive now and the build part's a bit unwieldy. It's going to be National's Tooth Rush, as we can see, and probably going to be at least the Seeker's Arm Guard, but wait to see if it's going to be the full-on Zhonya's.
I think he might want it. Because if you use the Sand Soldiers to move and you get Cataclysm on, then you have to blow the flash. Whereas if you have a Zhonya's, you just pop a Zhonya's and then get it. Suddenly you're not trapped in the Cataclysm when you come out of it.
If you think about it, there's no real demand for building Abyssal Scepter, which is one of the early items. No real necessity to build anything else. Obviously, Illudence would be the most optimistic item you could pick up. A Rylai's maybe the more realistic option, but
yeah,
it is going to be the Seekers, and maybe then you can justify just building the Rylai's for health to go along with the armor of the Seekers.
Yeah, Rylai's might be a good pickup for the early defensive stats from the HP.
And you're just slowing up a lot of melee champions that are diving on you. So the Rylai's makes a lot of sense. It's just, do you feel able to build the Rylai's, or are you pressured into finishing the Zhonya's?
Well, only time will tell. For now, still continuing onward toward the Nationals Tooth.
Onward and upward.
Yep, Saucin, of course, with the X-Drinker completed, now with the double long sword, which you can only assume is going to go into a Caulfield's.
You should be happy. We've got stand lanes, so that means that no objectives can come down. None at all. The Dragons.
Which maybe is good for Longzhu. Maybe when they get objectives, that's when they lose the game. So now that they're getting none...
I don't know if that's actually the math equation.
Now that they...
Acquire objectives,
I figured it out, Papa.
Okay, I'm listening.
Now that they don't get objectives, they will win the game handily. Saucin still going to go in here onto Coco. Cataclysm comes down. Look at the damage. Flawless in the follow-up. Saucin gets cut off by the Cocoon, though. He's going quite low. Will get finished off as that Cannon Barrage is just hailing down from above. Flawless now on the run as several members coming into this mid side, but will be able to get out with his life overall. It's going to be a 1-for-1.
And a global assist was there from the Gangplank to get the Jarvan low enough to pick up a kill. Coco didn't use exhaust in that fight. That's questionable.
I don't know. I mean, we saw how much burst damage he took there from the Cataclysm and just the Graves. You would think that
you sometimes
the exhaust was maybe one of the first things that you would want to press when the Jarvan was still all up in your face.
You sometimes have range issues with the Jarvan, because I'm not sure if the ult range from Jarvan is just larger than exhaust, so perhaps... Because once he's hit the ult, there's no point to exhaust him or the burst is gone. But finding no target to exhaust is a surprise, and as we mentioned, Coco plays with it with his life, and if he keeps going for this aggressive optimization, which he's priced into now, it will be the Nationals Rush. Expect to see plenty of returns from Flawless in the mid.
Well, the damage comes in once he hits the ground, so I feel like even mid-air J4, you can still exhaust him and mitigate that damage.
Interaction is sometimes a bit peculiar. I know there was at least a couple of patches where the damage registered before. Otherwise, you can just Zhonya's the damage. So I'll watch it closely in the next fight. Maybe we can tell with a slow motion replay what the interaction is.
I think you should be able to exhaust that and mitigate the damage, but who knows? I'm not a Riot dev.
You're not?
I don't make, no.
What? Really? But you
if
put
I
that
was,
on your CV.
If I was a Riot dev,
Did you lie to us?
If I was a Riot dev, things would make a hell of a lot of sense. Expression, though, getting locked down
Oh, nice
underneath of the
flash.
tower. Nice flash away, but one more hit will proc the concussive blows. Here comes Nuclear to finish him off, and they get the kill. Nicely executed dive there by Expression.
Not often you can pull
onto
off
Expression.
a 4-man dive and there'd be no information, but Longzhu had no wards anywhere near the bot side and seemed to be just caught napping.
Yeah. He had a good flash, but it was only able to do so much. There's a Braum there, and he is going to lock your ass down.
That is what he does. Even Gangplank with his oranges was not K.
Yep, it's not K. You know, that's my, you know those little squishies that they throw at the NA LCS and the EU LCS? That's my favorite one. It's K orange Gangplank.
I got one back in 2013 from Riot Oceania event, so they've been around for sure. The Lulu cupcakes there as well.
I got mine at PAX East.
There you go.
Which brings me back to something that you asked me about in Game 1, my favorite Dragon and/or Baron Steel moment.
I don't know if that's actually a segue you can pull off. Try again. Come up later in the broadcast, you'll find a better segue.
All right. Well,
we're not talking about it now.
We'll figure it out.
I can't vindicate such a terrible segue.
It's a great story, though, but it'll be told one day.
Use your caster powers to segue better. Just farming up. I'm waiting for the more completion. I'm waiting for Flawless to show up mid, another all-in. I love Jarvan all-ins. They're great.
I mean, so far they've been really strong from the side of Saucin. We can see he actually went for the Dirk, and now it's just going to go straight for the Maul down Morty's completion. So let's pick that one up. Not the Caulfield Warhammer.
Next item's not clear.
Yeah, I don't really know where you take this build.
There was a long time where Ravenous Hydra was the pickup, just because you could ult Hydra at the same time during the knockup and get the damage. And remember, Tiamat was changed on this patch, so it now does cleave in the laning phase as well, so will help him push against Azir, who has a big pushing advantage against Jarvan, so maybe Tiamat into Hydra.
Yeah. What's Austin opting just for that beautiful item that is Maul of Mortius? So this is where he wants to go.
It's just so elegant. It only does everything.
It does everything. Yeah, I'm not sure where you really take this. Do you go for something like...
Again, my money's on Tiamat.
I mean, it could be a Tiamat. I could see almost Ghostblade maybe being desirable for a J4. Really chase somebody down and get that increased auto attack speed.
Return to his game 1 plan of Turbo Jarvan.
Yep.
I like it.
It worked out. Why not do it for the J4 this time around? You can see the Flawless has started up. The Dragon will be able to solo it out. So first Dragon over to SBENU.
Well, the lane pressure of Jarvan translates into objectives. That's why you pick champions like Jarvan. Obviously won't offer safe wave clear in the late game like Azir, but because he can take the mid lane by the scruff of the neck, it opens up pressure for Flawless to easily solo down that Dragon, although clearly on some sort of roaming mission he got caught up. Just half his health, but Flawless will be fine.
It's K. Will be the running expression here. Coco finally starting to close that CS gap. Just down by about 10 so far. The Nashor's Tooth really helping him work through those minions and maybe not lose as many underneath of the tower that he's been pretty much relegated to. We can see they've actually closed that gold deficit as well. Just a couple hundred, despite the 3 kills that SBENU has picked up for themselves.
There's a lot of picks like Jarvan mid, Assassins in general, but Jarvan's I think one of the most stark ones. Jarvan's a lot like...
Oh boy, this could be interesting.
Jarvan's a lot like
Never mind.
Jace.
It's not going to be interesting at all.
Jarvan's a lot like Jace in his identity, and that if he gets Snowball, his mid-game damage is insane. Late game can be a struggle for him, whatever he itemizes into, but it's very much going to be an arms race of tankiness versus burst AD damage between Jarvan and the front line from Longzhu. And remember, the front line's pretty small. Alistar obviously very tanky, but Chase is going to be building at least somewhat towards ability power.
Let's go for the Skirmisher Saber, so he's going to be mitigating as much as he can for the rest of his team.
What we saw from Winged. Winged is piloted, going for the early Sightstone, as we're going to see people meet.
Yeah, this is going to be Soul. Cannon Barrage down, has to flash away. Repel comes in as they go on to Flawless, who's taking a lot of damage, but he still finishes off Expression, using the corner of the wall to get that big pop off of the end of the line. Now Saucin arriving with the TP. Cataclysm's down to finish off the Spider, and Coco not going to be able to get the kill. It's a double kill going over to the J4 as he finishes him off with that Javelin. And this is SBENU looking like they might be able to 2-0 Longzhu.
And while we were wondering about late game teamfight Jarvan, mid game skirmishing Jarvan is super duper powerful. We're going to watch a replay here. Soul gets very low, and the low health bar honestly baits Longzhu into an engage they don't want to go for. Remember, Jarvan has teleport advantage. So Soul falls low. Flawless, remember, got that early kill, so had the early goal. Even through exhaust, Sarsen managed to put out decent damage and then can just wail away on Coco. Nowhere for him to go. Really nice mechanics from Flawless to use the last bit of mana to kite forward, and it's going to be double more Malmortius, and suddenly there's no way whatsoever for Chaser and Coco to deal Flawless and Sarsen when it's double more of Malmortius against two champions that deal exclusively magic damage.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, despite the near full AD team coming out from SBENU, we're seeing almost no armor on the board for Longzhu. Just the cloth armor right now in the inventory of Coco, which we can only assume is going to go into that Zhonya's Hourglass, as he does have a needlessly large rod as well.
Sarsen's building Ghostblade, just to make you happy.
There we go. See? He's going Turbo J4. I'm a fan.
I think it's fine. I think the Tiamat would be more reliable, but just given how the game's going, if they want to keep skirmishing, having movement speed to get between the lanes is going to be relevant. Ensuring that he's always in range to dunk people is going to be relevant as well. So,
well, it'll allow him to catch these more elusive members like Coco and like Fury, who can dash around. So I do like the build. I approve.
Achilles approved.
Yep. Get the little stamp.
There we go.
You get an official stamp. Coco. Cataclysm comes down, taking a lot of damage. Collateral damage gets thrown out. Coco down to about 40%. Will be able to get out with his life, but that's going to be a flash expended by him, which opens up more pressure in this mid lane for Sarsen.
If Sarsen had really been serious about that gank, he would have flash ulted and then still had EQ to be able to gap close, but obviously use his gap closer to get in range.
Yeah.
So no way for them to pick up the kill.
That would have gotten some style points. Soldo getting caught out by the cocoon, takes a lot of damage, down to about half HP. Tries to chain the barrels, not going to connect.
Is Maokai.
Maokai will live.
Sarsen looking for the turret dive because that's how he's rolling now. But Longzhu, smartly, when they force out the Maokai, are going to end up trading turrets in the top side.
Yep. Cannon Barrage did get used, though, by Expression, so will not have that one. And now Pure has to flash away from Flawless.
Going for a second turret. Longzhu have been smart. They're pushing hard. Brom's already recalled. No way for SBENU to answer it.
Yeah, and you can't have your Kalista in the bot side solo out of tier 2 tower. She just does not have the pushing power available.
There's no reason for Flawless to be caught trying to take down an ulting Alistair. They should just ignored that and been quicker to react to top, but
yeah.
Longzhu, despite all their struggles in the skirmishes, have picked up a bit of global gold with that second turret.
Yeah. And that is going to be good for them. They need that gold to try to keep this as close as possible. So far, it's only a 1.7 thousand gold lead for SBENU at 20 minutes.
I said it last game, I think Longzhu has it in the late game. That wasn't true in game one, and that was partly to do with itemization, and partly to do with, well, completely to do with itemization, both in terms of penetration items for the side of Longzhu and just the very smart third item GA on the rise from Sarsen. But double exhaust, building into items like Zhonya's, I feel like there are item answers to what SBENU's putting out, and no way to deal with what Longzhu's putting out in the late game. All the armor penetration from the barrels, all the range versus the almost purely melee damage on the side of SBENU. It's all about the mid game. It's all about taking advantage of what they've done so far, and that's why SBENU needs to keep pushing.
Yeah. Well, you said itemization going to be key here. So we need to look to Longzhu to start itemizing more armor.
I see a cloth armor. That's an improvement.
That's what I said. So far, it's the only armor item that has been picked up. But look at this, SBENU not stopping. Just going to go ahead and take their second dragon here at the 21.5-minute mark. So it would be very late fifth dragon should it come down to it, but still on that path.
You can't fight for dragons after losing the early game with Gangplank in the top lane. Also still got a very expensive build. You need those key item completions, whether it's Zhonya's, whether it's Rylai's and a fully stacked Seeker's Arm Guard, more damage coming through on Expression. This is the time for SBENU to take objectives, and this is the time for Longzhu to just wait for the late game.
Well, Ghostblade completed by Sarsen in that mid lane.
Purple Jarvan.
Oh yeah. I don't. What other items would you get that are purple? I can't even think.
Pink Ward. He's got one.
Blade of the Ruin, King Jarvan.
Yeah, blue build Ezreal. Why can't we have purple build Jarvan?
I mean,
He should buy a Zerat portal. That really purple minions.
Zerat portal, Blade of the Ruined King, Jarvan.
Yeah.
That would be good. You could literally never get away from him. He slows you with the Blade of the Ruined King, speeds himself up with the Yomu's Ghost Blade, Flag and Dragon, Cataclysm onto your face.
Sassen wants to test his damage.
I think we found a winning build.
Sassen really wants to test his damage.
Yeah, he wants to go mess up Coco.
Whenever you play an assassin, that's something you want to do. You just want to be like, okay, well, how much damage does my combo do?
Yeah.
The answer's a lot, to be clear.
Sassen's in a decent spot where I think he can just go test that. Sometimes it's a little bit more questionable, but he's in a decent spot where if he gets an opening on the Coco, I think he'll be able to go.
There's quite a lot of outplay potential with the Emperor's Divide, so you have to be careful. But
Flag and drag in, you knock him into your tower. You know, could have something like that go down. It looks like they might just push in for the turret right now as the wave is getting ready to crash. Coco on the fast turn to the lane here. Cannon Barrage gets thrown out. It's going to have to draw them back, especially with the arrival of Chaser and Pier from the sidelines. So they just peel back, so don't really use too much outside of the Yomus.
No Gangplank ult though, big team fight ult down.
Yep, and that's going to be the tier 1 going down in the top side, so evening up on towers and stretching that gold lead ever so slightly to 2,000. SBENU still keeping their nose ahead of Longzhu.
Do seem to understand the position they're in. They know the late game team fights are going to be much more of a crapshoot compared to how powerful they are right now, so they're taking all the immediate objectives, trying to balloon a gold lead, trying to ensure that when they do fight in the mid game, they have the item advantages that honestly reward for a very smartly played early game. They want to continue skirmishing if possible. We saw the power of their skirmish fighting around top side, but if we see Longzhu understand their position, hang back, farm safely, and then they get closer and closer to a fight, they're actually going to be able to win.
You can see a lot of attention being paid to this mid side. Sassen still takes a good amount of damage. Still a all-aggressively built Jarvan. So, gonna have to show some respect even to champions like this, at least, as the Rylai's Crystal Scepter was completed by Chaser.
Coco was forced into Zonia seconds, showing respect finally to Sassen.
I think it's very necessary. He's been taking a hell of a lot of damage. Is half of his team's deaths so far. So itemizing for the Zonia is going to help mitigate a lot of the damage. A lot of things that you can juke out, the collateral damage, the Rend, the Cataclysm as well. This is going to be TP though from
double
Soul on the
TP.
backside. Double TP from Sassen. Fury going to dodge that one out. Cataclysm comes down. He just gets devastated as he falls to the collateral damage from Flawless. Pure having to flash away, and all of Longzhu just turning tail and sprinting for the hills. SBENU now grouped as 5 with one member down on the side of Longzhu. Their biggest point of wave clear with the calling. They're going to be able to force in for this tower. Unable to stop the recall there from Pure, but they might be able to at least get some damage in on this tier 2, if not take it.
Gonna start it. Sassen's not grouped. He's moving out. Remember, he's already used his teleport. Gonna be an easy second turret from SBENU.
But now they can rotate down to this tier 2 in the bot side as well.
Tiamat coming in third. There's definitely going to be no sign of defensive items, barring maybe a Guardian Angel 4th or 5th from Sassen.
Yeah, I think the GA is a very necessary pickup.
But you see the buff that's come through with the Jarvan ult in full display there, because when you see multiple people group, they're taking the full brunt of the high AD scaling ultimate. You're taking 600, 700 damage burst instantly. Graves layering the collateral damage on top of it. And basically the whole team is being burst for around 1,000 damage if they don't have any armor this early in the game.
Yeah, it's just filthy, and I'm glad that we're finally seeing it from Sassen, showing that this is something that he knows how to play. This has been in the scrims, and he is just playing it to a T, only dying just the once, and Flawless as well. We have to give a lot of credit to this guy. Played the Graves phenomenally in the first game, and doing so as well in this second one. 4-0 and 3.
100% kill participation.
He's really enabling the success for SBENU in this match.
He just turned it on the moment that he just threw out an ult, picked up first blood after a failed gank attempt by Longzhu. He's been in the right place at the right time, and that's honestly something he has failed to do all season. He's been in the right place at the wrong time. He's been at the wrong place a lot of the time. His mechanics outside of Lee Sin have let him down, but this has been a very good performance on the Graves.
Yeah, this has been almost ambition-esque of him with his Graves pickup. So, solid stuff. Went for the Phantom Dancer as well.
And let's talk about why this comp makes a lot of sense on the side of SBENU, is that they've got a lot of burst damage between Graves and Jarvan, and then think about the only other damage source. It's the Renset potential of the Kalista, finding multiple different bolts into the enemy, firing them in, picking up the first kill, getting the reset, being able to use Rend again. Renset potential is real because the cleanup after all that burst early, before the armor items are complete, is considerable.
Yeah. So I just realized Expression bought a Null Magic Mantle and then sold it because he realized there's no AP damage here. I think he was going to go for the Merc Treads, but then realized there's just so much damage being output by the rest of these members of SBENU that he has to just optimize for the Ninja Tabby.
It'd be nice to have Merc Treads, but you do not have the ability to build Merc Treads this game.
You don't have that much leeway.
Nope.
And now we can see it looks like a Sterix Gauge potentially coming in for Fury.
I mean, he needs a Sterix Gauge. Anything to stop burst is what you're looking for. If you're Fury, just a Chain Vest isn't enough. You're still going to be burst down.
Yeah.
Again, this is what we're saying, though. There are item purchases that answer what SBENU are doing. It doesn't feel like in the late game there are item purchases to answer the really nice balanced team comp from Longzhu. So by that time, Longzhu, find objectives. Don't give away crucial ones like the Baron specifically or 5th Dragon. And there is a world where Longzhu come back in this game. Remember, if they lose, they're all but mathematically eliminated from playoffs. It's literally 90 to 95% certainty that they do not make playoffs.
Yeah, they have a very tough schedule ahead for them. If they should lose here to SBENU, making it almost impossible.
Well, the big issue is if they lose, they can't get to 10 wins. And Samsung are sitting on 9 wins and play Kongdu next week.
Yeah, they're pretty much relying on the failure of other teams to be able to succeed themselves.
Again, it's the failure of Samsung to beat Kongdu Monster, a team that's really struggled to pick up any victories.
The 10th place team.
There's hoping for a close game to go one way, and there's hoping for Kongdu to beat Samsung.
That would be one hell of an upset. But you never know. We've seen some pretty bizarre occurrences so far. Africa destroying just 2 days. So,
I mean, I thought Africa were going to be good
I forget.
preseason, and then they went 1-7. And I was like, well, I'm silly. And they finally turned their scrim results into results on the big stage. So it's great to see them step up.
Yep.
I'm more excited for Africa next season because I think playoffs is possible but unlikely. But next season, definitely.
Yeah, the next split could be really.
Or they might just
strong
lose
for
the
them.
first 10 series again.
You never know.
There's playing with a handicap, and there's a Freaka this season.
Yep. Right now, though, things looking pretty grim for both Longzhu and CJ.
Sterix Gauge complete.
Yep, so Sterix is completed, as you note. Maul Malmorty is complete for Nuclear, who was just previously sitting on the Hextra crew, so did finish out that buy completely on his back.
I wonder if Sarsen can one-shot Expression. He probably can.
I'd love to see the attempt.
I mean, he's got teleport, so he's free to go split push. And if Gangplank pushes up with no armor, I feel like easily level 16 Jarvan.
You cannot cleanse anything with the orange.
I mean, it gives you a little bit of health, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a lot of value out of 15% missing health scaling on the oranges, that's for sure.
Because you're going to have a lot of
Exactly.
health missing.
Ravenous Hydra going to be completed now. For Sarsen on patch 6.6, Titanic Hydra took a massive nerf, so lost 15 AD when you completed it, so just not so much desirability there. You're losing effectively, what is it, like about 500 gold worth of AD, 350 for 10 AD, so
Yeah.
losing just over 500 gold worth of AD, so people are moving back towards the Ravenous Hydra. Baron
sense.
started, and if you funnel up for this, Jarvan's in base, he's ready to go.
Yeah, he is ready to go indeed. We can see Soul playing the front line here, looking for them. If they're going to come in, they're just going to peel off with this Baron. Secret takes a bit of damage.
So the mistake here was Soul wasn't tanking, so they had to actually peel off because Secret got chunked out. If Soul was tanking and Longzhu came in, then we were going to see the Space Jam to end all Space Jams. And because it was crucially Secret tanking, they have to back away. So they lose what was a guaranteed funnel up from Longzhu and don't get that big teleport flank.
Yeah. So, a bit of a misjuggle there for SBENU. I mean, I understand that they want to protect and just see that front line. Maokai can slow people out, knock them away with the Arcane Smash. They just wanted to deter that aggressive push inward from Longzhu, but it does cost them that Baron attempt.
And let's just not take that for granted, because this is a team that has struggled to make those next level players understand, okay, we have this comp, how do we win with this comp? It's been a question that we've kind of leveled at SBENU. They haven't seemed to know. Even knowing that forcing Longzhu to react to an objective is the way to execute this comp is a step forward for SBENU. They still deserve credit for that. Sarsen is just sitting in every brush, waiting to instant kill someone.
He can pretty much instant kill just about anybody.
Probably not Lucian, which is kind of
yeah.
sad times for him.
That's an interesting statement.
Definitely not Alistar.
Coco, he could but I mean the Zonius is there.
In
so
a world
maybe
where
not an
Coco
instant
doesn't Zonius, he will die instantly.
Yep.
Elise.
I mean, maybe the burst is so high that he can just kill him before he hits the ground.
I mean, honestly, he's in the right lane just because Gangplank has no armor, barring the Ninja Tabi, which is not enough. Gangplank will instant die to this Jarvan.
Yeah. The biggest mitigation you're getting from that is on the auto attacks, and that's going to be the least of your worries.
And Sarsen's new favorite item, Guardian Angels, on the way.
I mean, if you're playing a champion that
gets in there, does a lot of burst,
your
and
objective
then
is
dies.
to just insert yourself in the middle of all of your enemies, you probably want a Guardian's Angels, so unsurprising that we see that one coming in, as it was actually it was never even popped when he was playing that Rise. So I was going to say it was very...
It was there for the stats.
I was going to say it was instrumental, but it really wasn't. Oh, they're going to actually sneak this Baron. They're showing 3 members in the mid lane. This is beautifully played by
Pings
SBENU.
coming on from Longzhu. They're thinking about it.
The pings are coming out, so they think that they know that this one's happening. Chaser's just going to go for the Scuttle Crab. They're going to spot the Baron. Soul coming in to disrupt them. Cannon Barrage gets thrown down. Flawless taking a lot of damage. Going to have to try to finish this one off. The Cataclysm comes down. Who's going to get it? It's actually going to be Chaser stealing away the Baron, but Fury gets jumped on and he goes down. Saucin doing some work on the backside. Expansion going to be the next one to fall. And now it's Fury and Chaser on the run. Gonna fall. Not going to be able to get out with their lives. And that is going to be an ace, despite losing the Baron here for SBENU. And they are just shooting themselves ahead in this game.
Such is the power of SBENU's comp at this point in the game that even though they really screw up around Baron, 4 stays on it. There isn't a clear call. The 4-man unit, and specifically the full health Jarvan, blitz down the 5 members of Longzhu. Can they actually finish? Could this be the 2-0?
I don't think that this is going to go for the finish, but it's certainly going to be an inhibitor
to anybody.
Yeah, well, 15 seconds from Pure.
They're going to
go for it. This could be do or die time here if they can get the recalls up in time. These turrets not taking a ton of damage, but that's going to be the TP coming in from Soul.
1 tower down. Fury.
I think they're going to do it. A 2-0 coming in for SBENU. We thought it was going to be the opposite. We thought Longzhu were going to take the set, no problem, but SBENU playing gatekeeper, knocking Longzhu down a peg and almost completely shutting out their playoff hopes.
SBENU Sonicboom over 2 games dumpsters Longzhu game, and there's no other way to put it. They literally put them in the grave. Space Jam, whatever you want to call it. Longzhu.
This coach is just harming his players. Look, Saucin's like, I don't know.
I love the grimaces as he breaks everybody's hands, but he is pumped, and he should be.
He's like, no fist bump, no fist bump. Give me that hand.
Second 2-0 of the second round robin. But remember, the first one was over Kongdumon, so we all expected that. This is a massive upset, and all the Longzhu fans are going to have to wonder what could have been for this season, because they went for the right plan. They won a very one-sided 2-0 a couple of days ago. They stick with the same lineup. They don't pull the full Longzhu, but the full Longzhu might have been better than what we saw from these 5 members.
Yeah. That was incredible by SBENU. Playing the game so well, and a lot of it, you have to give 90% of the credit over to this man right here, Saucin, pulling out the J4 finally. So 21 champions at the end of today.
I'm going to call him Blackjack because he struck gold today. There's no other way to put it. No gambling in Korea, but you wouldn't know from Saucin's champion pool. He's tried everything, but he's found 2 champions that he could really persist with. The Rise, maybe that's the meta one, but the Jarvan, the threat of the counterpick. Now if you're on blue side, do you just ban Jarvan? Because 5th round on the red side, that Jarvan counterpick did massive work against Coco's.
It did. And it wasn't even in damage. He was surpassed by 2 members on his team. Soul did more damage than Saucin did on this J4, but the pressure that he was able to apply with that champion was just way too much for them to get over.
What a result for SBENU.
What a result. When we come back, we'll have our MVP in our second set of the night.